go to bed almost every night, I email them.
Wow.
They will end up at one point in their life, maybe when they're 16 or when they're 18, that I say, here's an email that I've been keeping for you.
Because that's really what you want when you're 18. 40,000 emails, Maureen, from your mother.
These emails are so that when my children are of age, they can come to me and say, oh my God, you loved us so much. It's me.
Thank you for trusting me with your first ever podcast and with your friendship.
Yeah. Means a lot, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her. And it's so hard.
And this podcast with Jamie Kern-Lima was absolutely car crash. I mean, Jamie Kern-Lima is actually a very successful woman, a self-made billionaire. However, she is a fame whore because, she first found fame by appearing on the first series of Big Brother. She believes that she's the new Oprah Winfrey. And the problem is, you realize these are the types of people Meghan Markle is surrounding herself with. And none of them are prepared to ever give her a dose of reality.
During promotion for Suits, she was joking with one of the photographers that she can cry on command. Left eye, go. And then you watch a tear fall down her face, and then she starts cackling because she's so proud of herself.
They promised a cozy chat with smiles and pretzels, but South Park turned it into a savage parody, every line and pause, exaggerated, making even the sincere moments feel staged.
Can you imagine being Archie or Lilibet and opening this inbox of 6,000 emails when you turn 18? No one wants that, not the children. And also it sets this really unrealistic expectation, which Meghan is so good at doing for other parents.
If I don't have meetings in the morning, then I try to do school drop-off. They're at two different schools. So from 6:30 in the morning on drop-off mornings for me, I'm not home till 9.
Her life is so hard because she has to do school drop-offs, and thank God that she's got a live-in nanny.
Within hours, social media blew up clips of the parody went viral showing, awkward moments that made even fans pause. South Park didn't need to invent anything, they just held up a mirror, and what reflected wasn't elegance or inspiration. It was pure, unpolished reality.
Basically raising these two children. She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea for the rest of the family.
And this was one of the most every mother out there will understand. She wants us to put together a fruit crudité board for our children in the morning. Now, look, Maureen. Look at this.
What was meant to be heartfelt now looks like a staged performance packed with buzzwords under soft lights meant to impress, not connect. And the reaction isn't just memes. It's reaching boardrooms and behind the scenes. Deals, every whisper, dry-eyed tear, and divine pretzel is now part of the story.
You're the same.
You're the same.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And look, South Park is known for satire and for mocking people. No one is safe. This isn't the first time they've done an episode on the royal family, but this particular episode was quite scathing in the grains of truth that it held. And I'm not sure how the Sussexes are taking it. Obviously, it is a cartoon.
You just can't leave us alone, can you? Oh my God, he's so obsessed with us.
Wow, I know. Yeah, you just have to prove like you have the proof that you're proving that you can prove the proof. It's divine intervention that God brought you to this podcast today. Want some pretzels? I put them in a bag myself. These pretzels are divinely ordered. The pretzels of South.
Meghan Markle, they've just learned the hardest of lessons, which is, if you start a brawl, do not be surprised if you end up getting punched twice as hard. In fact, South Park has just knocked them out.
There isn't a successful lifestyle brand as ever. We sold out of everything in 45 minutes.
Amazing. You've been working so hard.
Oh my gosh, I worked so hard. I worked very hard and I'm still working very hard. Just not for the royal family. Yet, I still insist on being called Her Royal Highness.
From the moment the South Park episode aired, it was clear this wasn't gentle satire. It was a frame-by-frame takedown diving into Meghan's podcast with Jamie Kern-Lima. Every long pause, polished line, and so-called heartfelt moment got turned into pure comedy.
Another lie from Meghan, where she's told us one thing about this wholesome family life that she's got, but really, it's staff behind the scenes that are upholding this entire image for this woman.
But as soon as Meghan Markle made it absolutely clear that it was all about the moolah. It was all about the big bucks. It was all about trading off the royal name. But she was lining up these deals when she was still the Duchess of Sussex. She was in talks with Disney. She was in talks with the publishing companies, in talks with Netflix. At that point, the late Queen Elizabeth II, quite rightly, in my opinion, said, no, there is no half in, half out. So you can go, you go with our blessing, but you lose everything.
Meghan has always said that, you know, she's got lots of staff around her, and we've heard lots of complaints from lots of people that have worked for Meghan.
Viewers didn't just laugh. They went all in comment sections exploded with people calling it one of the most ruthless parodies in years. Some even said it felt like the original interview in animated form, stripped of its staged vibe, and suddenly, what was meant to inspire became pure meme fuel, sparking secondhand embarrassment everywhere.
Didn't make the Times list of cool people, but she did get invited there because her agency probably bought her access. This is one of the goofiest things ever.
Because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic that we're all craving.
What in the hell word salad is this?
Tiny little flower petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs. Level of charm that you find people have when they see these tiny little dried petals is something I can't fully wrap my head around, but I appreciate.
I'm elevating it by putting dried flower petals on all of my food.
She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
I mean, Meghan did claim that before dating Harry, she never Googled him, and she said she didn't know much about the royal family.
It was planned from the beginning. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it. And
before they met?
Yes.
The internet exploded with clips of the parody everywhere. Even people who never heard the original podcast instantly got its side-by-side comparisons made. Meghan's measured expressions, calm, spiritual tone, and perfect timing look like a full-blown performance.
Usually when we're together, we're in our cozy sweats and no makeup. So that's how we are today. No one's picked up my book proposal yet.
Yes.
I haven't found my soulmate yet. Everything is yet.
The power of yet.
The power of yet. Yet. Yet.
But I'm happy. I'm happy, and the kids are healthy, and H is great, but I'm trying to also enjoy these big wins right now.
Yes.
Enjoy them.
Yeah, she's a princess too, and Harry is slaying dragons to rescue her.
You know, look what we've built. We've built a beautiful life, and we have 2 healthy, beautiful children. And I always think about it like the end of Super Mario Brothers when you get to the final level. And what's the goal in Super Mario? They're like, slay the dragon, save the princess. I'm like, that's my husband.
Who's Harry rescuing her from? The family she abandoned before making him abandon him?
One comment nailed it. They didn't roast Meghan, they just mirrored what was already there. And that's when it all fell apart. South Park didn't exaggerate the pauses or delivery, they just copied it, and the result was so close to the real podcast that fans said they enjoyed the parody more than the original. What was meant to feel deep and sincere now looked totally scripted, and everyone was in on the joke.
40 minutes into the podcast, this little picture, quite a grainy picture, flashed up, which shows a basket of, homemade preserves with a card on it, HRH, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan.
You dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream.
I find it a little bit cringe to give a gift to a close friend and sign it Her Royal Highness.
Why even in private? She's using that full title, Her Royal Highness.
I would never refer to myself as Her Royal Highness.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm going to put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
And the parody went further. It didn't just mimic the tone, it highlighted every tiny flaw Meghan tried to hide. The podcast was supposed to feel intimate and real, but on screen, it looked like a stage presentation South Park. Blew up the buzzwords, the polished vulnerability, and the perfectly timed pauses, turning them into punchlines that landed effortlessly.
This woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
I love that your eyes are sparkling right now. Meghan, how are you today? Which, by the way, I just have to say, yes,
enjoy them.
I forgot to have fun. You're right.
You've had it harder than literally any other person on the planet. Even Jesus, nailed up to the cross, didn't suffer as much as you. I know. Just love that this is what the Lord willed me to do with my will, to make another podcast where celebrities can talk about how hard their lives are, not to help people.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling. We can be the people we talked about being, with no more worries about how we look or the image we project to people. What matters is what we have on.
What do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise them.
So why did you say yes to doing the show?
Because it's you. And to me, that means...
Are you okay? Oh, that's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. What's my line? How are you? I know, you always make it about me. I do. So now let's discuss. Wait. You're supposed to talk about how amazing I am at being a friend to you.
From divine talk to big speeches about growth and healing, the words maybe looked deep on paper, but when South Park replayed them, they felt empty, like they were lifted from some company slogan board. And that's when people realized the show didn't even need to stretch the joke, because reality had already written the script.
Don't care. Don't care. What the hell? What did he just say? He victimized me. It's because I'm an ethnic woman. He can't do that. I'll say, wait, you're ethnic? This is an outrage. There's this horrible spy who lives across the street from us, and we're gonna get him back by changing our brand.
Is this you? Sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim.
Yeah, that's totally me.
Welcome to Jamie Kern Lima's show.
Her show is unlike any I've ever done.
A revelation. When you listen, it feels like a hug, but your brain and your spirit and your heart is like, wow.
When I look into Jamie's eyes, I feel like I am on some other cosmic level with her.
I could see the light around her. She's infused with.
Then came the part that had everyone talking when Meghan pulled out a bag of pretzels and called them divinely ordered, like it was some holy snack. It was supposed to sound cute or deep, but South Park grabbed that line and ran wild, turning divine pretzels into a running joke that completely stole the show.
You think you'll be married forever?
Yes.
I have a letter.
He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome. But his heart is even more beautiful.
Something's up here. See that little shoulder shrug when she said yes?
Yes, yes.
Did you hear how high her voice was when she said yes?
Yes.
When we're stressed, our larynx closes up a little bit and our voice tone gets a little bit higher. That's why the pitch of the S is so high.
What could have been just a tiny silly moment with the pretzels ended up becoming the main joke of the whole episode, and within hours, Divine Pretzels had their own memes, edits, and hashtags, and suddenly the podcast, that was already walking a thin line between fake sincerity and overdone cringe, dropped straight into full parody mode.
What we're doing here is as, if not more important than solving world hunger. Wow. I practiced really hard to come off as genuine. So did I. I think it's working. I do too. It's divinely ordered how many times we've said I and me. Why did you say yes to this show? And then you're like, do it. I was like, what? You're like, do it. I was like, what? You're like, do it. And then I was scared.
After that, it was like game on, because South Park locked in on all those cheesy buzzwords like destiny, purpose, and transformation that Meghan kept dropping one after another, and instead of sounding deep, they felt empty and robotic, and people online went wild, posting side-by-side clips and laughing that South Park didn't even need to write jokes, they just replayed the podcast with cartoons.
Isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
You'll make yourself cry. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yes, took them out of the box, put them in some other packets, which seems to be Meghan's idea of cooking.
Now, there is no doubt about it that Meghan Markle's viral video created a new negative wave of backlash against her that resulted in many other studios actually deciding to put any kind of affiliation with her either to a halt or firing her directly. That's exactly what happened with both Paramount and
And that's what really hurt, because when the comedy sits so close to reality, it doesn't feel like a joke anymore. It feels like the truth right in your face. And even fans and critics agreed they honestly couldn't see where the real podcast stopped and the parody started, and in that messy blur, Meghan's big heartfelt message just faded away and lost all its meaning.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us. She's using it in private with her friends. That's even weirder than if they were still trying to milk the titles in public. That is just like all the confirmation that I need that this woman is just obsessed with being a royal, that is all this was all about. That she's angry that she screwed the pooch by claiming racism and basically getting kicked out of the family. She just can't give up the HRH titles that quickly. Like, this is literally...
And right when everyone thought the pretzel gag had done its job, South Park switched gears and grabbed onto the emotional bit where Meghan talked about writing nightly emails to her kids, so one day they'd know her love, which on paper sounded sweet, but the way South Park spun, it turned the whole thing into an ironic skit that felt staged instead of touching. So the funny thing is, South Park did not just clown around, they really went deep into the Meghan drama. Like, instead of showing something sweet or close, they made it look like the whole moment was not about love, but about looks, image, and the way the whole delivery was so extra that even if there were honest feelings, they ended up looking staged, and people online noticed super fast asking why a private little ritual had to be shown to the world. And the clear message was when the acting becomes bigger than the heart, the connection is gone. And then they slipped in that sneaky detail with the gift basket that had a card signed with Her Royal Highness, which is crazy because Meghan and Harry gave all that up when they left the UK and shouted about racism, and now she still uses it in private, which just screams she cannot let go of the crown, even if she pretends otherwise. Like, girl, we see you. And the more you try to run from the royal tag, the more obvious it is that you are still chasing it. And that is why people think she is obsessed. And South Park made that look hilarious, but also kind of sad. Then comes her whole no makeup look on the podcast. Like, she tried to act stripped down, cozy, raw, and honest, but the parody shows it as fake because the lighting was perfect. The hair was flawless, the skin was smooth like a magazine cover, while saying I am unfiltered, which is just comedy gold. And the way South Park twisted it into I am a delusional made-up princess was too on point, and you could not even deny it. Like, they did not invent lies, they just exaggerated her own words. And the public loved it because everyone had thought the same thing but did not say it loud. Then they went after the pace of her speaking on the podcast, and oh my god, it dragged so hard. Like, each line had dramatic pauses that were supposed to sound deep, but instead they felt like she was stretching a 5-minute chat into an hour lecture. So South Park slowed it down even more until it felt like time stopped. And people watching the parody admitted it felt just like the real thing, where you zone out or skip ahead because it was boring, not inspiring. And that hit hard because they showed that boredom itself became the joke. And then South Park threw shade on her whole fashion activism, where she said she supported women brands and good causes, but they turned that into characters wearing over-the-top activist costumes that screamed, "Look at me, I care," and the gag worked because it was not mocking the cause, it was mocking how performative it looked, like a brand ad instead of a heart message. And the crowd picked up on that like crazy, saying, this is why everything she does feels like PR and not real life. And then the part that made everyone choke was her fairy tale line about writing a princess dream when she was 3 like girl that gave the game away, and South Park jumped on it saying you wanted to be a princess and messed it up yourself. And the deeper punch was when they showed her still clinging to the HRH title quietly, in a way that was not loud but super sharp because it showed the crown is still in her head. And honestly, that cut more than any loud roast. And it is the detail. Fans paused and replayed like 10 times, calling it the best burn of the whole episode, and then South Park closed it with the simple word, yet repeating it again and again until it lost all sense like Meghan did in her podcast. And that one tiny gag summed up the whole thing, because when you overuse a detail, the audience stops feeling it and only sees the act. And that was the perfect metaphor for her brand in general, because it showed how performance eats the real message and leaves nothing. And by the end, people were not just laughing, they were talking about her deals, cooling down studios, stepping back brands, rethinking, and fans shifting sides. And it was not just a roast, it was a cultural check, a mirror like South Park has always done, but this time sharper than ever. And that is why this episode is being talked about as a turning point, not just a silly cartoon moment, but a full wake-up call that when every move feels staged, the world will stop believing anything at all.